And we're back with the war tactics. Today we're going to talk about the Ork Enhancements. I'm going to give you my two pieces of advice as to which enhancements I like to use, which characters, why that may be so, break down exactly how the enhancements are used, so as some people might not be using them correctly, actually. And I'd like to hear your feedback in the comments and the responses. I'd like to hear you guys in the chat because I'll be reading the live chat right after this as I get into it with my presentation. So let's get stuck in, lads. Start off with one of the most commonly used orc enhancements, follow me, lads, right? So let's just talk about it. While the bear is leading a unit, keep that in mind, add 2 inches to the move characteristics of the models in that unit. So here, pretty straightforward on what this is doing. Maximize the delivery on the wall, right? The reason I say on the wall is because for some units specifically, you really need them to go off when you call the wall, and that's 2 little extra inches of movement are going to matter a lot, right? Unlike a lot of other armies, our main ability comes during the wall, and that sometimes just carries us for the whole game. And that's the momentum we really need. If you've ever failed a charge with your Warboss and Manobs and your Warboss and Mega Armor because they don't move too well and you roll a charge and it's horrible, you understand why some people just automatically plug in follow me, lads. Another one is Squigs, Death Killer Warchike, stuff with large bases. You know it's not moving through terrain. Go ahead and slap on follow me, lads, to that and benefit from that additional movement. One thing to keep in mind here that I see commonly misused is you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot use this on a solo mech or on a beast boss on Squigosaur, right? As you can see in the wording that I have underlined, it clearly says, while this bear is leading a unit. The mech cannot lead a unit. He does not lead a unit. The beast boss on Squigosaur does not lead a unit. Therefore, you cannot put follow me, lads, on either of those guys. I've seen people wanting to use the mech with follow me, lads, so you can keep up with the Stompa. It's a great idea, you know, in some ways, but you can't do it. Just go ahead and stick the mech in there, let the Stompa move. He'll jump out. He'll give him +1 to hit and try to roll a good advance, right? And then last but not least, use Here We Go with it. Understand that when you have that ability, some models can benefit from Here We Go. Of course, when you're in a transport, you can't use it. Of course, it's only for infantry units. Keep that in mind. But that's something that you start to compound that movement capabilities with, and all of a sudden you're flying across the field, right? So let's go over from my order of the best, right? I think right off the bat, the Warboss actually should be ahead of this, my bad. But the Warboss is the #1 S tier unit that I love to put follow me, lads, on. I think it gains the most benefit. You really need to stick in the Warboss and Mega Armor on the wall turn. You really need to get them across the field. You just need that 2 extra inches of movement. Some people might scoff at it, but when you're moving through terrain, sometimes that 2 extra inches of movement matters for when you actually pass through the terrain completely. Sometimes that extra 2 inches of movement is what you need to get the full unit into combat. You can't underestimate what a couple extra inches gets you. Huh? Anyways, so the Warboss and Mega Armor is another unit that benefits from that because he only moves 5 inches, right? So everybody else is looking at it like, dang, you're really slow. Hey, slap that on them. They get out of a truck. They have follow me, lads, on. They're more likely to get stuck in on that turn where you really need them to. Another unit that really benefits from the wall because it gets dev wounds. You understand? So that you're really thinking in hindsight when you're sticking it on there because you really need to cover that distance. But proper Kunnin is the knob with wall banner. Now, a lot of people sleep on the knob with wall banner. Go ahead, and I understand the arguments for why you wouldn't want to put this on him because the unit becomes very expensive. If you throw this on a big unit of boys, you throw this on the knob unit. But the point is that the knob with wall banner allows you for a ridiculous threat range because, like I said, with Here We Go, there's chances that some games you'll just stick that big unit of 20 boys on the field, not inside of a battle wagon, stand them on the field, and you let the enemy know, hey, I can declare a wall with just this one unit. I can then use Here We Go, and I have a built-in follow me, lads. All of a sudden, you're projecting a silly, possibly 21-inch threat range, 18-inch threat range right off the bat with this one unit that's running through buildings, letting people know if you stage on the other side of that mid-table terrain, I'm going to run out and touch you. All right? So that's a unit that slept on proper Kunnin. Knob on Smash a Squig, like I said before, you do have to sometimes take advantage of that movement. The reason he's in proper Kunnin isn't because it's a great model to use it on, but because there's other enhancements that you're more likely to use on the knob on Smash a Squig than follow me, lads. So that's the only reason why it's proper Kunnin. But you know, you really do want to take advantage of the movement sometimes. Go ahead and stack it on there. It just becomes a little too expensive for me, so I put it in proper Kunnin. Beast Boss is another guy, just like the knobs, the Warboss and knobs. follow me, lads, is necessary because you got to cover that distance when you disembark, advance, and charge. The reason it's not in the best is because those two units actually really benefit from doing their wall turn and getting those attacks off. The beast boss himself is getting the dev wounds off anyways, right? Sometimes you really bring the beast snagger boys just to deliver the beast boss. So in that regard, there's a lot of times where I'll actually not really care if it's on the wall, and I just try to cover this. Remember, I'm thinking to follow me, lads, for that really one unit that needs to cover the distance as quickly as possible and get downfield. And then we have what's Kunnin, right? Still a good idea, but not using my cup of tea. We have the Death Killer Wartrike, the Warboss on bike because they have auto advanced 6s and they already move quick because they're bikers. And then you have the Pain Boss / the Pain Boy. They can go ahead and get it too. Sometimes you just want to move quicker onto that mid table with the unit. Sure. Just to figure out, stick it on there. But everybody can have their own cup of tea because we all them boys in the green skins. Shout out to Wicked Joe for 5 War Tactic memberships. I see you, Paul Savage, in there, and a couple of you other gets. Make sure you claim those War Pig. Accept gifted memberships because we have a ton of those going around. I greatly appreciate it, Wicked Joe. Shout out to Wicked Joe for the donating the Christmas get grok to one of you guys that won the Christmas raffle. So shout out to Wicked Joe again. War. Now, moving on to the second enhancement. One enhancement that I seen is a bit underappreciated, to be honest. You guys are kind of underappreciating this, and grateful though gets. No, I'm just kidding. But Supa-Cybork body is actually very useful if you put it on the right units. So let's go over it. Very simple. The bearer has a feel no pain of a 4+. Boom. Okay, 4 feel no pain is outrageous when you really go put the math behind it and you consider what factions actually have the opportunity to even utilize a 4 feel no pain or get it anywhere on their list, and the fact that orcs have them built into certain data sheets, and then you also have this enhancement. Don't sleep on it. So it's an insane durability increase, which is 15 points. It forces the enemy to overcommit, sometimes into weak or cheap units or characters, or just on a flake that it really doesn't want to. You see that for a feel no pain, and they really have no idea where that's going to go. You stack that with art as nails on that unit, and all of a sudden this unit's getting outrageously durable. Overall, cannot be overslept, and people just don't understand how silly that gets. Even a remnant orc character unit can cause havoc. I have an anecdotal example for this. In an RTT I was running, I ran my Warboss and my knobs into a Lich Guard unit because I had to. I ran it in there, got stuck in. They clapped back. They killed about half my guys. But on the following turn, when it was a Necron player's turn, he got to hit me again. The only reason he didn't completely kill that unit was because the Warboss had the 4 feel no pain and just kept them there, getting in the combat. He was still alive. The following turn, I fell back with him. My units then charged. He was still on the next game. Later that turn, he ran up and killed some more Necron characters to get me assassinated because he was still alive. Even one orc character by himself is running around crumping. Threat saturation, like I said earlier, between the Maz, the Beast Boss on Squigosaur, and just more Beast Bosses on Squigosaur. You start throwing another unit with the 4 feel no pain. And then you possibly have a character on the field like a Pain Boy or a Pain Boss giving a whole unit of 5 feel no pain. You start throwing people's math right out the window. They don't know what's happening. They start getting overcommitting, undercommitting. They don't kill full orc units. The leftover orc unit starts crumping them, get stuck in, keeping the pressure on. You cannot oversleep on this enhancement as long as you're sticking it on the best or better units. So one I'll say here is my favorite hands down unit to put Supa-Cybork body on that is always the first that I take into consideration is the Death Killer Wartrike. You take this guy with his T6, 9 wounds, a 5-up invuln, and a 4-up armor save, and throw a 4-up feel no pain, he becomes, I believe, 95 points. Very cheap for that many wounds and that feel no pain. He also still gets to advance auto 6. You could take him with bikers. That way he has some ablative wounds, meaning if someone wants to throw anti-armor weapons down at him, hopefully the bikers are the first ones that take it on. They can't clear the whole unit up before they throw some small arms fire into him. Or just throw the Death Killer Wartrike himself by himself without any bikers up at the field. And he's durable enough to take on the firepower. He does have a good amount of OC, especially with the bikers on there, to cause, like I spoke about before, overcommitment on some people. So do not sleep on the Death Killer Wartrike. A lot of people are not using him because, the buggies aren't in play right now. The bikers aren't necessarily offensively potential. He has a big dumb base. 15 points, all of a sudden he's very much playable, very much enjoyable. And with the data slate coming around the corner, you never know if everybody's going to get a point increase. He most likely won't. He might be your dime store, shout out to Ronan, Beast Boss on Squigosaur. So let's go into proper Kunnin. Warboss, like I said earlier, the only reason I'll say this is why I like to put him on there is because precision is a thing. Some people have assassins, some people have Karn. People want to precision out this knob unit, that weaken a knob. Sorry, they want to precision out the Warboss to weaken the knob unit that he most likely is going to be in. If you take a knob unit and you remove the Warboss out there, you remove the ability to -1 to wound, and then you would also take away the +1 to hit on the knobs. All of a sudden, that greatly diminishes the knob unit. And if a very smart person with the right opportunity, with the right tools, might try to gut out that Warboss. Sometimes the Fort Feel No Pain ends up keeping him alive. Not mandatory, not necessary, but you can put him. Big Mech and Mega Armor for exactly the same reason I just stated. Some armies are both combined arms. They might try to shoot you and fight you. They might realize I can't shoot this Warboss and Mega Armor and his Mega Knobs out of combat with that 4-up invuln and the fact that he's healing them up. I might not be able to shoot him, sorry, with my guns. I might need to get him out of there with combat. They might charge in and try to actually heroic challenge him with one of their fighting characters. Even a Space Marine character could possibly pull it off and kill him before I Feel No Pain can throw that on its head too. Warboss on bike, because similar to the Death Killer Wartrike, and then the Warboss and Mega Armor for the similar reason to the Warboss and the Big Mech and Mega Armor kind of combined here, right? That's already a kind of durable unit, and sometimes people might say, hey, to weaken and gut this unit, take its leg off, I might just have to precision this guy out because I can't fully commit to killing the unit because I have to kill squigs, I have to kill something else. So they might decide I just need to kill this character in the Mega Knob unit to diminish this Mega Knob unit. Last but not least, in the Kunnin choice, we have a weird boy because, you know, you don't want to pop your own head sometimes, right? And then the Beast Boss on foot because, hey, you might try to be getting dev wounds off again. If somehow you're still alive, you have left over points, he gets another charge off, he gets dev wounds again. Moving on. Oh, and shout out to you, Brandon. You better collect that membership, boy. I see you in there looking all white. Not collect, boy. Death Killer War in the Wartrike is slept on. Now, the third enhancement. Another one that's a little underrated, but, you know, actually this is probably one of the ones I least use. So a lot of other people will use it, but I don't think it's bad. We have great enhancements. So speaking of, we have while the bear is leading a unit, keep that in mind, that unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in the unit in which it fell back. Boom, right there. Falling back, shooting, and charging is very nice instead of one or the other. Very important. 1, continue momentum. Orks, we always speak around here, the best you can, if you can, you're going to commit what I like to call the horseshoe around your enemy. We all start in a line, come on, horseshoe, encircle them, take them out, keep the momentum. Being able to fall back and charge really, really allows you to do that with even a diminished Ork unit. But what it really does is it mitigates delay tactics and or your own mistakes. Let's say you place the squig unit a bit too far forward, left a little bit tag off all the side, and all of a sudden let's say a Thunderwolf cavalry unit decides I want to charge you. You know that Thunderwolf cavalry unit isn't going to kill your knob and squigs unit, right? Sorry, your squig hog boy unit. But because how you're placed, let's say you have one place all the way to the front and the rest of the boys in 2 columns, if he comes and tags you and you try to pile in, you're not going to be able to clap him back hard enough either. Now he's taken away your lance capability because he's running in, touched you first. All of a sudden, your squig hog boys now lost lance going into a unit that has a good toughness, and you're not getting enough guys into the fight. That's where you've now made a mistake, and Cunning But Brutal is actually going to help you with that. You're going to be able to fall back with the swig unit because you've been tagged in a way that you didn't want to. Let's say you had a Knob with Wall Banner unit of boys, another unit that you don't want to get tagged. If someone touches the very, very tippy end of that big unit of boys and you can't pile in enough guys to kill them, maybe your power claws are on the left or right of the big mob, falling back and charging will help you there. So that's what I mean with that, with delaying or mitigating tactics, where people come and tag you because they know you can't pile in enough to actually kill the unit. So then now you've lost momentum of the wall, you lost momentum advancing and charging, you've lost the ability to get where you want. This allows you to continue momentum and make up for mistakes. And then last but not least, you could fall back. Let's see, it's a diminished unit that you don't want to charge off anymore because it's in a die. Maybe you're going to give up assassinate, whatever it may be. You just get, hey, I'm going to fall back, do an action over here, shoot, just do this action and stand over here, not charge. But you're not doing nothing with that unit, right? It's one of those things of continuing momentum. Maybe he ran up, got into a fight, he's falling back, everybody else is getting stuck in. It's not worth him taking up the space because he's not going to be able to fight first, and the enemy's going to stay alive and possibly choose to fight him. Just fall back, do an action. And then last but not least, cannot use on a solo character again. One thing that people like to do, and I've even myself have done this and thought of it before, is maybe I should put this in the Beast Boss on Squigglesaur. That's very smart. And it is very smart if it didn't say while the bear is leading a unit. 40k is a very little game. The game is a very little terms in which it should be used. That's why sometimes there's raw, the abbreviation for rules as written, and then there's the rules and intentions. But in stuff like this, when you're reading the actual rules, how they're being written in this way, where the wording is very clear, it's very clear that you're not supposed to use this on an individual character as much as I really would want to. Now, let's go into what I think is the best. The best unit with Kunnin but Brutal is, like I said, the knob on Smash Squig is definitely one of my favorite units, because if you do make the mistake, or if someone is very fast, you don't want to lose that lance ability on your Squig Hog boys. You don't want to lose that maneuverability because you have such big bases. You can't get enough guys into a fight. There's just one of my favorite guys to do that, and they're one of the units that's most likely to survive long enough to actually take advantage of this capability. Just keep it a matter of fact, you're probably not going to survive a lot of different orc units with this capability. If I put this onto a weird boy with 10 boys, they're not surviving, right? Then Warboss, because the unit, like I said again, the Warboss, actually why I like this unit is because there are times where you'll charge in and you'll not finish off an enemy, but he can't finish you off because it's the wall. You have a 5-up invuln, and you have the -1 the wound. All of a sudden you're stuck in a prolonged combat. Being able to fall back and charge further up down the field might actually help you. Sometimes people will try to do a combined arms move into the knobs where they'll shoot you and then they'll charge you and hold you in place just because they couldn't finish you off, or that's their way they're trying to finish you off and you survive. Again, you get to fall back and continue the momentum there. So the Warboss is another one that can't be slept on, and it's cheaper than Follow Me, Ladz. Then we have the Big Mech in Mega Armor. This guy, because sometimes it's all about where you're placing this big unit of Mega Knobs, having in people knowing that you're not really hitting that well. Even if you're using Power Claws, you're hitting on 4s with only 3 attacks per guy. If you're using Twin Kill Saws, of course, you get to reroll wounds. You have great strength and you great AP, but you're low amount of attacks. So people might know that and say, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and tag this unit, not let it get to the objective that it wants to be. It's not a threat to me. I'm going to go stick someone else here. Hey, the fact that you can now not allow them to delay you with a unit that's not necessarily there for killing, you can continue marching up the field, getting where you want it to be with that unit. And there's one of those units that you might want to fall back and just do an action with because they're not good at fighting. Like a Beast Boss, another unit that, hey, if you can fall back, get the dev wounds off going again, beautiful. Painball / Pain Boy, these units, a unit that can actually take advantage of the fact that it survived that long to use this enhancement, might be another unit that's great for that. And then just proper Kunnin, Death Killer Ward Trike, because he's big and fast. He might get up there and tag someone right ahead. He might get up and touch a rhino, not necessarily die, but the next turn be able to move on. Same thing with Warboss and Mega Armor. The Warboss on bike. And then for the Warboss and Mega Armor, it's similar to the Big Mech and Mega Armor for reasoning. I just think it's not something that I really care to put it on him. Yeah, because I think most of the time he's offensively going out where he needs to be. He's not really caring about falling back and charging, and he's just getting off. So I usually Follow Me, Ladz, and putting something on him, but he's not a bad option. And then the knob with Wall Banner, like I said before, sometimes somebody wants to tag a little end of that mob. Go ahead, fall back, continue momentum, use that great OC you have to move into the middle objective or even the enemy's hope field objective. None of these are bad options. Kind of a brutal slept on, but it really comes down to what unit you put it on. And of course, guys, remember this, disagree with me in chat. Let me know how you feel. Go ahead and leave a like, subscribe. Let me know how you feel. If we bring any value. Now, last but certainly not least, Headwoppa Killchoppa. Now, you guys all know this is the most commonly used. You hardly ever see any orc list without this. So let's go over real quick, just in case someone's new, so we can go how it do. Melee weapons equipped by the bear that do not have the extra attack. Sorry, we forgot the word. Ability. Have devastating wounds ability. That means, for example, your Warboss with its little squig that's in the front of his base that's biting people's toes for strength 4, 1 damage attacks. He doesn't get devastating wounds, sorry, because he's technically an extra attack when you see the abbreviation for his name. Like we already know, the squigs, the mounted squig characters already have those on their data sheet abilities. This is really just talking about stuff like that, just to be clear for new people, right? So now, whenever you are fighting with your melee weapon, that guy gets devastating wounds. Very reliable damage output on vehicles and monsters. When you do the combination correctly, very important that we need that tool, that key to unlock the problem that we have of dealing with high direct answer to our high toughness problem. So orcs right now have an issue with stuff that's too high in toughness because our strength didn't go up. It actually went down. If people didn't know, we actually used to baseline run strength 10 on knobs, and GW just tried, let's drop it to 9. I get they just did that across the field. I'd really hope they change that in the codex. I think when you baseline strength 10 knobs is just a great number and it should still be there. But this is a problem that we directly have because we can actually have issues popping transports now, right? A Leagues of Voltan Sagitar transport is T10 as a straight transport, and we're running around with our power claws at strength 9. So that's a direct problem that we have that Dev Wounds helps us overcome. And it's actually one of the only ways, reliable ways, that we can get dev wounds and utilize them correctly. So because it's an enhancement that we can choose on what character to put it on, and we on the characters that we want to put it on, they're quite reliable. Therefore, it's as one of the best, most direct answers we have in combination to kill these very, very durable, problematic units that we have to get dev wounds delivered how we want them delivered. And I just kept the list short and sweet because really these are the main ones you really only want to look at. Otherwise, you're not going to really get much out of your enhancement. So we have just what I'm going to call the best, my favorite, hands down. Argue with me, fight me on it. I love to hear it. Is the Nalbon Smasher Squig is my favorite #1 choice for Headwoppa's Killchoppa. The fact that on the wall he gets it on a 3+ instead of a 4+ is 1+1 to wound on a turn when you really, really care to wound. He does lose 1 attack, but this is one of those units that I care to use Unbridled Carnage on anyways because the rest of the unit is getting the benefit from these additional 5+ sustained hits. So you're gaining the most benefit from using that stratagem on this and this enhancement on this list. So in both ways, he's still my favorite choice. Then you have the Beast Boss on Squigosaur. Because he's so durable, he's so fighty, he's so durable but not so fighty, you really want to put this on him because it's the only way to really get him some kind of damage so people can be scared of him. That being said, my weakness that I don't like about him is the fact is the Beast Boss on Squigosaur can be dissected out of your army. Everybody in 40k has their version of a scalpel or a nuke or a missile kind of problem to solve their problems, right? For us, it's a problem for us, but it's a solution for them. When they know that unit has now multiple incentives to kill, not only does he give you a reroll buff to your squigs that are marching up the field, not only does he have a 4 at Feel No Pain to keep harassing you and touch people, but the Beast Boss on Squigosaur now has devastating wounds and anti 4+. I got to kill that guy. I'm going to take this very problematic thing, my nuke, and I'm going to go ahead and line it up on that Beast Boss on Squigosaur. That's the reason I don't like to do it, but I understand people who do it. There's very much success. Go ahead and do it. Proper Kunnin version of this is the Warboss. The Warboss is great because he gets 9 attacks. You're obviously trying to go for 6s. That's okay. But there's another one of those units that you're going to be using Unbridled Carnage on the knobs. So you're going to be getting more attacks in, hoping to really get 6s off. And then last and certainly least is the Pain Boss. He actually does have 4+ anti-monster, anti-vehicle. So he can, in a worst case pinch, let's say in a 1,000-point game, even a 500-point game, go ahead and put it on him. He can help you actually pop someone's rhino, kill something that you have to kill. There's no reason why you can't do that. Remember, we all play 40k the way we want to play it. So anybody want to disagree with me in chat, go ahead. I love to argue. I love to fight. We all have the way that we love the wall. We all love the way we love to be. And this is just a preference thing, right? This is just my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me. Feel free to agree with me. And if you do agree with me and you like what we do here, if you appreciate the rise of the green tide, then go ahead and subscribe and leave us a like because we love you guys. And it's just the beginning. It's a new year, and here we go. We're going to get more into more tactics. Every Friday, we're going to come out with some kind of tech video or a unit highlight, maybe a combination highlight or a conglomeration of that. Let us know what you want, what you need, and we'll be here for you. With that being said, I'm going to look at the chats. Give me your first responses. Let's get stuck in. Let's see what you guys got to say. He says, first, best Orchimedes wins again. Of course, Mr. 2 is the Orchimedes. J Moon, waiting patiently. MC, I hope you got a membership. I see you there now with a membership. Whoa! To all you boys. Let's see, Mr. 2, what you said. Big mech and mega armor with 5 mega knobs with follow me, lads, is neat. Giving you a great here we go on the wall. As I keep them on foot, building jump to see if I can get some shooting soaked. Yeah, so you pretty much just tempt them. Hey, you can see the end of my unit. If you do shoot me, I might just pull the back guy. Then that way you can't keep shooting me, and then I'll regen a guy possibly, and then keep moving up the field. Yeah, and you're just trying to soak up damage. That's actually pretty fun and interesting, marching him up the field like that. And yeah, follow me, lads, would actually make a difference because you actually need to move up the field. You can actually move the field at that point. +2 because when it comes to crumping, size does matter. Whoa! Thanks for sure, definitely does. Shout out to Wicked Joe for giving Jeremy a gifted membership. Thanks, Jeremy, for giving him the shout out. Wampa, all you guys, Wicked Joe again. Brandon, look at you looking all gray in here, boy. You better collect the membership. I don't know who you think you are, not collect the membership up in here looking like a Umi. You know what I'm saying? I see all these little grots in here, all these squig boys. You know, soon to be, some of you guys are going to be matured into boys, actually. You guys might not know it, but I think at the 3-month mark, you guys get the boys membership. So a few of you gets are going to become boys up in here. I'm going to have to start calling you that. Oh, wait to the law. Wait, late to the wall. Just a little. Big Mac with shock attack guns can give extra rounds of shooting into cheeky gets. Yeah, that's true, right? You're like, hey, I'm going to keep moving with this giant gun. Oh, sorry. Oop, I pressed everything in the world. I popped a Sagittar with Gretchen shooting. Grot. Just gotta believe in the DACA. It's funny you say that because when I first started 40k, I was playing against David, and I remember I had a unit of Grots. Yeah, of course I did. But there was a Terminator there that I wanted to shoot, and I shot him with my Grot pistol, and I took the last wound off him. And I was so proud of myself and my Grot because I always loved my Grots and their belt buckles that I wasted too much time painting on. Naman Smash a Squig is the Killchoppa GOAT. Yes, he is. And I know Brandon and I used to go back on that in the beginning of the channel times when the long lost era and we started 6 months ago. But when Brandon and I first started talking and he was doing his results and I was giving my opinion, I think he was one of the people who kind of liked to run it on Beast Balls Squigosaur, if I may remember it, with Headwoppa Killchoppa. And we talked back and forth, a lot of different people, and I'm glad, we all love to play how we love, but this is one thing I'm kind of strong opinion on that I think he's the best. Mech is the best. Headwoppa Killchoppa chat changed my mind. I never try to change the mind of a git. No, I'm just kidding. Might buy a knob on Smash a Squig. Only got Mazrog in terms of Beast Snaggers. Oh, you mean a Beast Boss on Squigosaur? Yeah, that's why I like that as kit. And shout out to anybody in the future. What I did, and you can consider doing, is I actually the joint part. Dang, I wish I had my dude. You could actually pop the top off of Maz and stick the Beast Boss and Squigosaur on the same body and just put a magnet in between them. And I have mine magnetized. So if I want to run Beast Boss and Squigosaur, pop Maz off and I put him on there. I think the Great White mount is cooler looking anyways. But yeah, if you get two, that's why the kit's cool, because you get Maz and then you can take a Beast Boss and Squigosaur. And then if you want, you get another kit because you want it on the raffle and you can get another guy. You know what I'm saying? Not you want it, but you never know. Yeah, and try to collect a membership, Jake Southern, because there's a chance that there's membership floating around in here. Whoa, to J Moon. Big Mac and Mega Armor is such a good bullet sponge. Even with just 3 Mega Knobs, he can easily soak a few shots of damage. Oh yeah, nasty. In a 1,000-point game, 500-point game, that'd be outrageous. Not much Smash Squig could probably topple Knight during the wall and the strat. 5 criticals for sustain if you can roll. If you roll well, can you make it happen perhaps? If it's hurt already, but I don't know, I've easily taken 12 wounds off certain units just by getting lucky, of course. But yeah, and sometimes that's enough to finish them off because there's obviously other units. And like I said, because you're popping the strat, if it's just a Beast Boss by himself on Squigosaur, right, you don't really want to pop Unbridled Carnage sometimes because there's other places on the battlefield you could be taking advantage of that. Or it's just him and you're like, man, okay, I rolled my 7 attacks as it's the wall with him. Okay, and I got 1 additional 5. That was a whole CP. Oops. Right, but on the Nabon Smash Squig, you're like, man, this whole unit's getting all these attacks off. Even if you're just piling them into someone else to fight, you still get to take advantage of that. I'm glad you highlighted me, enlightened me on the key baby on the Beast Boss on Squigosaur. Yeah, I couldn't really. And you know what, WAAAGH? Because me and you talk, I talked to a bunch of you gets in Discord. I really appreciate the community. Some of you guys like WAAAGH and Brandon and Jay Hugh and so many of you different guys and Wicked Joe and Mr. 2 have been around since I started even 6 months ago. And so I'll engage in conversations in the voice chat, in the group chat. And WAAAGH and I were talking, and that's where I was like, you know what? I actually want to make this clear. I don't want to just correct him in the chat directly either. When I was thinking about it at work, I was like, you know what, dude? Let me make this clear. And because I had the same thing where with a mech, I try to take it with a mech, and someone in a chat in a live stream was like, hey, just remember you can't do that. So I thought, hey, we all have to remember things, and all can use a little bit of advice, or it's so many rules in 40k that there's nothing wrong with sometimes one slight word misadjustment and being like, oh, okay, I understand it better now. Gifted whoa memberships with Jay Hoon. Jay Hoon was also one of the channel raffle members, so that actually won. He won the actual, I think, the whole kill set from what I remember, the Beast Boss sweat. So shout out to Jay Hu and giving back to the community after winning. So that's a great job. I really appreciate that. So all you guys, make sure you get collecting Jake and Brandon and Walt Day. I see you out there looking gray, not collecting the memberships that I know we got up in here. We even talked about ideas for the stream today. Yeah, for sure. And I'm always interested. So if you guys ever see a post, if you guys in Discord, at me and throw ID into the ether, because the community is about us and for you guys. And some of you guys are way better painters than me, way better hobbyists than me, been playing way longer than me. Some of you guys are just crazier than me. So like in general, hearing what you guys got to say, it actually helps me get an idea. I might not do everything you say or exactly how you guys present it, but I'm always open to it, because why wouldn't I be? We're all in this together. High School Musical, but we're all in this, together as a community and as orcs, so it's going to be great. The rise of the green tide is where we're at. The orcs are a prestigious community, yet we don't have a prestigious gathering or prestigious following. Even the lore, our leadership's kind of lacking. So here we are, we're rising together, and so many different war bosses are getting together and coming together on the hobby streams and coming together in Discord. I'm learning, we're all learning together. I'm even getting better. Some of you guys are improving, undefeated or losing streaks and win streaks. So it's great. And then we all get to go, because some of you guys play way different, from the guys in Europe to the guys in Russia that have hit me up before to, just straight up Americans that like to disagree. So I'm all about it. So with that being said, you guys, because I think we hit that mark, and this is for you get. So make sure you guys share this to any of the gets in the Discord don't see this, because some people I noticed miss some of these informative videos because it's a live stream and it's not in the video playlist, so then they don't notice. And I'm like, hey, you get, look at the live streams. So let people know, because we about that. Whoa! So remember, guys, every Wednesday and Friday, we're all about it. It's about the new year, and it's all about the rise of the green tide. I also learned how to use TTS, so I'm going to be trying to get that presented to you as well, to give you actual examples, so I'm not using my fingers anymore. Huh? All right. For sure. So there's one thing to keep in mind, is don't cross the wall, because we knock your teeth out. Whoa!